What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is the Las Vegas boat launch. Let's fish that. Alright guys, this week has been a tough week for me. We went out night fishing, trying to get some stripers. We targeted some carp, we targeted some catfish. Got skunked on all of these, did not catch any of those fish. Then we had some storms roll through the area, bringing lots of rain and lots of wind, making the fishing a bit difficult. I started thinking about maybe going to some of the spots that I have caught fish already, going back there and trying to see whether I can at least catch some fish so that I can do a video. But then of course I realized that this is a YouTube thing, wanting to always have fish in the videos for you guys, but that's not how fishing works. For that reason I wanted to force myself to do something a bit different, not just focus on catching fish but actually exploring some fishing spots again and ensuring that I grow my skill set. For that reason I'm out here today at the Las Vegas boat launch. Back in the 70s and 80s this was actually underwater, part of Lake Mead. Nowadays we just have this small little creek or river running past the boat launch, heading into Lake Mead. Now of course this is the same waters that come from the Lava Butte area. It's the same little stream, just a couple of miles away from that and something like a mile to get to the actual lake itself. So the plan for today is quite simple. I'm going to take some rods, all dressed up in the waders, going to wade around in these waters, trying different lures and baits to see whether I can catch any fish out there. Alright guys, a couple of things I quickly want to stress. This is the first time for me doing something like this, so I'm not experienced at this at all. So I feel the need to just kind of give a warning and say, please be careful if you try something like this. Not only do you have to worry about stuff like the animals and cliffs and stuff like that, we also have to be vigilant and careful of the water itself. We have lots of deep drop-offs and eddies and stuff. You don't want to get swept away. The water is actually a lot stronger than it looks. At the moment I followed the river and I'm on a big bend in the river, and what I'm doing out here is I'm specifically looking for these little washes. As the river comes past, it makes these little eddies or backwashes. That is where I'm going to focus on throwing out some baits, and then I'm going to be using some different lures and stuff also to see where in the river I can find fish. Now, important to stress that I have different setups out here, but you're only allowed to use 2 rods at a time. So I'm only using 2 at a time, not using all the rods together. I have to put away the one if I want to use the other. But the first one I have out here is my bottom rig with 2 hooks on there. I have a little lead weight to get me the casting distance, go down to the bottom, and then I have some hooks on there. On this one I'm going to put stuff like night crawlers, maybe see if we can find some catfish or some bluegill or something in these eddies. Second rod I have out here is my bass setup. I have a little Ned rig on there at the moment. Going to put on some worms, throw that around, see if maybe I can find some of the bass that we know are in these waters. Having to find some slower moving waters. I don't think these fish are going to sit in the middle of the current, but I'm going to throw this around, see if I can find any fish out there. Because I'm not expecting any big fish, I'm not expecting any 8-pounders or stuff like that, I also have my light setup out here using some small fish imitations to maybe see if this will be going for some moving bait fish or something. And the final setup I have out here with me is my fly rod. I have some streamers with me, going to be using some big bait fish looking streamers to try and see again whether we can get any of the predatory fish. I might want to go for some streamers. Also I know these type of streamers work pretty well for carp, if there are any carp feeding. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have now walked quite a while up this little stream using all different lures and stuff that I wanted to be testing. I did not use my fly rod. The current is quite strong. Using a little fly rod, there's no way of getting the flies down. They'll just float away on top of the water. So I did not try the flies, but I did try some of the other lures, and of course I tried some baits out there, but I've not seen any fish, yet alone catch any fish. Now that does not mean this area does not contain fish. That just means that I don't know how to catch the fish. I also don't know where the deep holes are. With the water being this turbulent and muddy, it's very difficult to see if there's any deep hole somewhere that might have some fish in them. And to be pretty honest, this was a quite ambitious thing to do in any case. It is still February, it's still middle of the winter, water is quite cold. Stuff like bass, they won't be that active yet. Of course, having some new water come in, that's also lowering the water temperature yet again. So I do believe this is a place where you can find fish, especially during the summer months if you use some night crawlers and stuff. The thing is, I can stay out here for quite a few more hours and try, maybe get something, maybe not. Or having tried it and quite enjoying the time I had out here, so maybe I can pack up my stuff, move around a bit, see if I can find a different spot, see if I can get on some fish. Alright guys, made my way over to Upper Government Wash. Been talking to some of the other fishermen around here, people saying they're not catching any fish out here on this weekend. All of them of course blaming the weather, but I am out here enjoying myself, so I'm going to give it a go. Got the carp set up out there with some corn. We'll see if maybe some of the carp in this area are willing to feed, and I'm going to be throwing around some lures, seeing if there's any fish up shallow. Alright guys, if you've made it to this part of the video, I want to thank you for watching. It's been a pretty skunky week for me this week, but this will be the first video in almost a year that I upload that I don't catch any fish. I hope you're fine with the fact that there are no fish in this video, because I'm fine with that. You need to understand that there will be times when you don't catch any fish. That's fine. Now don't get me wrong, catching fish is exciting, but that's not the only point to fishing. You need to enjoy the entire experience out here. It's very hard to show and explain, but I did enjoy my time out here today, exploring some new waters, seeing some different animals and stuff around, as well as having the opportunity to throw around some lures that I've not even touched in almost a year. Alright, but before I get too carried away with that, I want to thank you for joining me on this trip out here today. Hopefully next week's video will finally bring back some fish. Tell me down in the comments, what do you guys do on days like this where the skunk is kind of inevitable? Give me a little thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you don't want to miss the next fish I catch, please consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. Alright guys, but that's going to be it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.